This video we're going to discuss a little bit about cytokines now. I've been talking about cytokines throughout the immune system. Those cytokines are going to be small proteins, and really those cytokines are how the entire immune system communicates with each other. Okay? So really this is a way for communication within the immune system. And in terms of cytokines, all right, both B cells and T cells, all right, don't respond to antigen until they are stimulated by cytokines. Okay? So the process of maturation in both T cells and B cells needs those cytokines to be released in order for the B cells and T cells to do their job within the immune system. All right? So in terms of the cytokines, in the PowerPoints I've got a list of some of the cytokines that I want you to know. All right? In terms of cytokines, it's really kind of a broad category and covers a lot of different molecules. One of the main ones are the interleukins. All right? And that's usually abbreviated as IL, and then there's some number after it. There are lots and lots and lots of different interleukins. I only want you to know a couple of them as far as their function in the immune system for this class. Okay? And in terms of those interleukins, the main one I want you to know, because this is going to be involved in proliferation of T helper cells and also activation of our cytotoxic T cells. And that's going to be interleukin 2. All right? So in terms of that, it's going to stimulate our T helper cells, and it's also going to be involved in activation of our cytotoxic T cells. Okay? There is also interleukin 1. All right? Interleukin 1 essentially works to stimulate those cells that can undergo phagocytosis. So it tells the phagocytic cells essentially that they're needed in an area. Okay? So it kind of attracts the phagocytic cells. Those phagocytic cells will engulf foreign particles, present them on the outside of them, where now our B cells and T cells can be there to determine whether or not that particular antigen is harmful or not. Okay? I've got one example I want you to know here, interleukin 12. Okay? 2 and 1, these are going to be something that stimulates something to happen. IL-12 is a bit more inhibitory in its nature. Okay? It is going to inhibit humoral immunity, and if you remember humoral immunity, these are going to be antibodies. Okay? So it has an inhibitory step that way, but it also will activate T helper 1 cells. Okay? So it kind of has both functions, stimulation and inhibition, depending on whether we're talking about humoral or cell-mediated immunity there. Okay? Some of the other cytokines that are listed there, there are a lot of other cytokines out there other than interleukins. The interferons can act as cytokines. The thermonecrosis factor alpha is a cytokine. You can have growth factors that are cytokines. You can have chemokines that are cytokines. There are a lot of different proteins out there that will function essentially in communication within the immune system to get activation of either our humoral response with antibodies or our cell-mediated response via the T cells. Okay? So in terms of that, if you have any questions, please let me know.